I hope people see that, like, we're not against anyone. We're just for, like, everyone. To see it's much better. It's so much better for me.
Oh, good. All right, everybody. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 5 of the Strongly Worded Podcast. I am Sue O'Lear.
And I am Johnny Hampton.
And we are coming at you from our dining room studio here at Palm Coast, Florida. It's a beautiful, gorgeous, sunny Sunday afternoon. We have a guest today that I've been looking forward to. Again, I say this about all our guests, but I really mean this one. I really mean all of them. But I felt very excited to reach out and speak. I didn't even ask you your last name in our introduction. I will. But I was a small business owner. She is a small business owner. Where we both have experiences in allowing some of our personal beliefs, political beliefs, come through our business. And I invited her here to talk about that a little bit. Karen?
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Welcome. Karen, if you are local to the Flagler Palm Coast area, owns Sally's Ice Cream Shop down at the beach. Huge favorite of my family.
The best ice cream in Flagler County.
Seriously.
Thank you.
A Hampton family tradition.
Yeah, for sure. My kids kind of feel like we have a celebrity in the house. So welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Karen Barchowski. I own Sally's Ice Cream. This year it will be 9 years.
Oh, wow.
In July. That we've been the caretakers of this little shop. Mm-hmm. And
it's you and a partner, you and a...
No, it is my shop.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Okay.
I did have a partner years ago whom I've bought out.
Mm-hmm.
So it is me. It is a family business. Mm-hmm. My youngest daughter, Madison, she's my GM.
Oh, cool.
She's the heart and soul of Sally's. She has that great passion for business ownership as I did and do. Mm-hmm. My life. Like my whole life. Mm-hmm. So hard time working for other people.
Yeah, what did you do before you came to Sally's? What was your career before that?
I owned a restaurant.
Did you?
In New Jersey, and then I've been head chef around, so that is my
Are you
trade.
a chef?
I am.
My wife's a chef.
Is she?
She is.
So she got that crazy gene then in her head too.
Indeed.
No comment.
Yeah, there's gotta be.
I can comment.
Yeah.
She has I always call it the artist brain.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's how I started, because I went to go to school for art school, and you have kids, and mm-hmm. how are you going to make money? So mm-hmm. I took that and put it into food, and took that as my passion. And got really tired of working.
It's an exhausting business.
Yes, it really is. It'll take everything from you. Mm-hmm. So we bought the little ice cream shop, and I'm going to say it's a little easier.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure.
A little bit.
Uh-huh.
So.
And much beloved. You said it has been here since the 80s?
Yes. I keep forgetting. It's either 1984 or 1985. Wow. Mm-hmm. And it was started by Sally, mm-hmm. hence the name. Mm-hmm. And it's stayed that name. I don't think you changed something like that.
Tell me about Sally.
I don't know a lot about her.
No?
I don't. I do know that she comes to Sally's.
Does she?
What? I myself have never personally met her. I have heard what she's said about Sally's at this point through a mutual acquaintance. And, we try and make Sally proud. I mean, this is her, she started this. This is her legacy, and we want to make her proud.
So now, after Amy's Hallmark is closing now, you might be like one of the oldest businesses in Flagler now.
I think the Golden Lion.
How old?
Snack Jacks too.
So, but you're top three though.
I'm not sure. possibly are.
All I know is today, my oldest child, who is in Tampa, she's 22. She'll be 23 in April. As I told you before we came on, I used to take her all the time, and my son too. When I texted her this morning and said, "Oh, we're gonna interview the owner of Sally's," she replied in all caps, "Oh my God, so awesome!"
That's so cool. I mean, it makes me feel so. I don't know, it's humbling. It's humbling that people feel such a strong connection to Sally's, and gratitude.
What do you do when your kids are down? You take them to get ice cream.
Yeah.
When you want to go talk to them, like we went the other day, and my son Anthony said, "Oh, we used to sit on those benches over there. We used to sit on the benches right on the side, and we would talk." Can't get a word out of them now, but
it's the truth. I mean, that's what I used to do with my kids before I bought it. It's I mean, there were some hard times, and especially when we first moved down here, where I couldn't even afford an ice cream cone at Sally's. So then I thought I was the greatest mom in the whole entire world because I could finally go down and get an ice cream cone, and it's. I think I showed my girls that, you work hard, you put your head down, and anything's possible.
So in the Facebook group, when we were there a couple weeks ago, I snapped a couple photos of your sign and what the shop looks like so people can envision it. But it's a bright little spot right across from the water. Tell us a little bit about the appearance for the people who can't lay eyes on it.
Well, Sally's, we decided it's been many, many colors, and it's funny to look at all the pictures over all the years, and I wish I had them all. But, going into it, and especially right after Hurricane Irma, because we were shut down for 7 months, that was really hard. We just wanted to come back, with a new Sally's. It's an evolution. It's you have to keep changing. And I picked out this color pink. And I'm like, this is Sally's color. Like, this is who she is. And some people looked at me and went, "Oh, yeah." Like, what are you thinking? I think even my kids looked at me like out of the corner of their eyes and said, "Oh," but I'm like, no, this is it. Like, it needs to, the personality. This is Sally's. Nobody else has this color. And it's bold. And it's in your face. And people won't forget it.
Yeah.
So that's how the color came to be.
I love it. I love it.
And, a lot of it has, we have our sticker window.
Tell us about that.
I love. We started it, and it's there for people to put stickers on, whatever you need. I mean, I've seen it all over the place. We're not the only people that does it, that have done it.
We're not the grammar police.
Oh, thank goodness, because sometimes I'm really not great. It's in my head the right way, it just doesn't come out the right way. So people bring all different types of stickers from all over the place, and it's it represents who Sally's is.
And so we have lots of listeners who aren't local, so there is a reason we brought you here today. So let's introduce a little bit. Who is Sally's? Sally's has some beliefs.
Sally's, yes. Sally's is everyone, as far as I'm concerned. And that's how we operate the business. Our core values are, I don't know if you want to call it point of view, but it's just based in love. And I think that's the basis of it. It's love.
And for those of you who can't see who I'm looking at, she's sitting here in a T-shirt that says love.
It's all about love. And my bracelet has love.
And always the peace sign.
Yeah, always the peace. I mean, it's in our DNA. That's who we are. It's not just a business. It's
a mission.
It's a mission. Yeah, exactly. And that's how we approach it, and that's how I approach it every day. As a part of me, a part of my heart. It's not just about ice cream. And I mean, if you're an employee at Sally's and you're coming for your interview, and one of the biggest things that I like to get across is that we sell ice cream. Yes, we put our best into it. We try and give you the best that we have, but it's more than ice cream. It's giving, because anybody could sell ice cream. We didn't make it. well, we do make it, some of it, but we didn't create it.
Right. We didn't invent
So,
it.
you know, my purpose is to give people something to believe in, you know, beyond the brand, beyond the product. And I mean, we're all connected. And I really think that what we put out, we get back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's beautiful.
thank you.
Last March, we all watched the news unfold together, and you shared with me a little bit in our chat when you arrived that changed some things.
It did.
Tell me about that.
It changed it. Well, did it change things?
Or just
A little bit.
bring
It
things-
amplified.
There you go.
It amplified. I mean, you know, that's when we became more involved in the Black Lives Matters. And to those people who were surprised, I don't understand why they were surprised at it, because long before this,
Read the
you
sticker
know,
wall,
became
people.
the thing. Look at our windows. Look at
Right.
our sign.
Right.
We've never been silent. Maybe we were just a little more quiet about it. It was more of what we were. And we didn't, not that we didn't use our voice. I'm not sure. It was,
I just think at a time like that, the voices become amplified because so
Yes.
many people are paying attention. So
Yes.
people who weren't paying attention before are now paying attention.
yes.
And you know, I did some research and looking at your Facebook posts and all that kind of stuff. What goes into that decision? So obviously, like you said, you've been talking about this stuff for a while. You got the sticker wall and all those kinds of things. But what goes into your thought process? Like, hey, I'm gonna go on Facebook and post this for everyone who follows me to see. And you know what that entails. You know there's some people who are not going to agree with it. Some people are going to make derogatory comments. You might lose some customers. What is the thought process there? What were you nervous? Were you scared? Did you just say, I don't care, I'm just going to do what I do?
Well, as far as what brought us into the major spotlight of this, and first off, you know, politics it wasn't about politics. There's a huge difference between politics and social justice and human rights and what is right. I don't believe there's no political party that owns this. So I just needed to say that. So as far as everything that transpired and how we did get thrown into the spotlight, it's a matter of like happenstance. We did not set out to do this. This was not like, oh, this is what we're going to do. When everything came to be, you know, with George Floyd and everything became amplified, and you know, you're watching the videos and you're listening. My kids, I have 3 girls, and they are very much strong, compassionate, empathetic, sympathetic voices. I'm so very proud of them. I really am. They are good humans, and that's who they are. Everybody was upset. This is what we talk about. We have a family chat with all of us in it. It's constant. Look at this. This is what's happening. We can't stand it. People are hurting. You know, this is wrong. So on Facebook, there was a group that was formed, and if you ask me what it was, I don't even remember. And they said that they were going to do hold a march locally. And you know, my kids are okay, we're in, we're all going. We've been to so many different marches for so many different things. I mean, I was in DC in 2017, you know, and way before that. So this isn't something new. That's
Right.
the other thing. That again, it's not new. You know, there's credibility and authenticity behind what we're doing. It's not just, oh, we're going to jump on a bandwagon, or all of a sudden, here we are. So the march that I was speaking of ended up getting canceled. Like, as quickly as it started, it was canceled.
And why was it canceled?
I think they got scared. I don't want to speak 100% on it because I'm not 100% sure. But
Okay.
some of the chatter was that they felt like they shouldn't do it because they were white. Then they got scared about, obviously like violence and what was going to happen to the community. I think they just got in over their heads, and not in a bad way. I have nothing derogatory about them. People do what they can do, and that's it. But that being said, my daughter, Madison, and some of my employees, they're younger kids. They're 22, 23 years old. This is our future. Mm-hmm. And they are angry. They are angry at what's happened or what this world has been, because let's be honest, it's always been this way. We just like to put lipstick on it and make it look a little different for a little while, take it out on the dance floor. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. And they're like, we're going to march. We will do this. And they started texting their friends, texting their people. And it's like, we don't care. We want, the black community to have a voice. This is it's about them. It's not about us. And we want to stand in solidarity. We want to hear what they have to say, because we have not had the same experience. We cannot know what they have gone through. And we want to stand here beside them. So, and lift them up and let them say what needs to be said, and just shut our mouths and listen. Everybody wants to talk. Nobody wants to listen.
That's very true.
And so I'm going to say, I was 100%. I'm like, I got you. We'll do this. I will never, ever try to silence my children, my employees, or anyone else that is going to use their voice. It's the only thing we have that is so powerful. That is our superpower. And, I tell my employees that. I tell my kids that. And for me to sit back and say, okay, well, not now. Wow, I would be a big hypocrite. Mm-hmm. And there were those thoughts that went through my head, like, okay, what's everybody going to think? How's this going to go? And then I don't care. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I do not care what anyone else thought of me or what they thought of the business. All I care is how my kids see me. Mm-hmm. How do I look in my children's eyes? How do I look in my granddaughter's eyes? How do I look in my mom's eyes? In my friend.
I know you're choking me. You're choking me up.
But at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. I can lose everything tomorrow, but when I look in the mirror, what? I just want to see that I stood on the right side. And I think this is a time when we have to choose a side. I hate to even say that because it sounds horrible. Like, who wouldn't want to be for equality and for accountability and for lifting up your fellow man? We're a brother's keeper. That's it. So I made some calls to try and get like the local, politics, like or the local government on our side. It was not received very well at all. I mean, this literally all happened within days. It happened within 2 days. All of this went down. So I'm like, okay, well, we have to get with our local police force, our local sheriffs, to stand together, to support, hey, we're not against the police. We are not against, the people that are there to protect and serve. What we are against is injustice and against the bad people and in every walk of life, and we're not going to accept that there's bad people and they shouldn't be held accountable. Well, then we're in trouble, obviously.
It does not surprise me that the government here was not on your side. As we've discussed on previous podcasts, we are in a very, very red county.
Yes, we are. And
a lot of them have social beliefs that are counterproductive to the way you think.
Yes.
So as you're going through that, and you're not getting help from the government, and you're getting, some backlash from customers, like, do you worry at all? Because I know you just said, I only worry about, because I'm like that too. You're like a kindred spirit. I don't really care too much what people think about me. You know, if my wife loves me and my kids love me, I'm good.
Right.
But I don't run a business. You know, I go to work and count someone else's money for a living. So, do you worry at all how being in such a red county might affect your business at all?
I guess I wouldn't, I'd be lying if I said it didn't pass through my head. It did, because the amount of backlash that I got before the march even happened was ridiculous. I was so disappointed. I was so angry, because this is not the town that I thought it was. You know, I was angry. I really, really was. I mean, people, I had other businesses calling me saying, "What are you doing?" Because
Really?
I got attached to it very quickly. And, what are you doing? And the other businesses are upset that, you're going to bring in rioting, and, they're thinking about, should I close down and board up my windows? I'm like, I'm really not going to repeat back on air what I said back, because, but I stood my ground, and, I tried to educate, and whatever they took from it, fine, but I'm like, I was going forward with it, and I'm like, do not tell me to be silent. You will not tell me to stand down, and I will not tell my children to stand down.
One of the things, do you remember Dwayne talking, our last guest last week, about one of the reasons to march is so that that your community is already unified against some of these injustices, some of these situations that will come up. And what a heartbreak to find out that your community did not want to unify.
And it was I don't want to speak negative of other businesses, and everyone has their own they have their own fight, their own reasons. So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, everyone should have stood behind us and spoke up, because that would be really judgy of me to do. And there is a but attached to that. It would have been really nice if we could have come together, because it was not, and it is not about politics. It's about what's right. It's about people that are hurting and it's suffering, and they need us to lift them up. And if we could, how high could we lift if we all got together? And so it was really I was very disappointed, and I have to check myself sometimes, and I can't sit in that disappointment, because it doesn't matter what the next person next to me is doing. It matters what I'm doing. And that's it.
I think we've all experienced that the last 12 months, that disappointment.
Yes.
Because for me, as a black man, when all of this stuff is happening, and you go to social media and you see your friends posting stuff like, well, maybe that guy Rittenhouse was right to shoot those people, or why didn't that black guy just comply?
Right.
And you see those kind of things. There is a disappointment. There is a heartbreak. There is, almost like grief over losing a friend before it happens. And it is a disappointment that people don't see what they're saying as detrimental to our society.
Right.
So not on the level that you've experienced, corporate wise and stuff like that, but just, I think we all have experienced it. I think this last year has shown us who some people really are.
Yeah.
And when we see that, sometimes it's very disappointing. So I understand what you mean.
Yeah. And at the same time, I'd rather see who you are.
Exactly.
Then I know. I always tell the kids, I'd rather see the train coming down the tracks when I get hit instead of having my back to it.
Yeah.
So
I always tell people, in relationships, you're constantly getting information, right? And so when you get bad information, and you adjust how you act with that person accordingly.
yes, you do. You find out who you stand next to, or who you actually cut your ties with. I've lost friends. It's sad. I've lost friends that I've known for 25 years, 30 years. And I'm like, can't do it. I can't do it. I know people have lost family. Like, everyone is so divided. And I don't know how that's going to change. I just have to keep that hope, that love, and the light It's going to change it.
You know how it changes? Your daughter Madison.
Yes. And her friends.
Who's 22 years old, who is looking out for my oldest child, who is gender fluid, and she goes to the ice cream shop, who's looking out for my son, who's a 13-year-old young black kid. That is how it changes.
It does. I guess it does. I mean, it's the next generation. It's our children. And we need to help them and give them, tell them to use their voices, to not be afraid, to show them, sometimes you have to stand against that darkness. You got to stand right in front of that darkness. And the hardest part, I think, is reacting to it, not with more hate, but you need to brighten that light. When we were going through, or as we continued to go through, because after the march happened, that's when all hell broke loose.
That really put you on my radar then, because I saw, the first thing I saw was something blow up on Facebook. Yeah, and my first thought was, I got to go follow Sally's on Instagram right now so I can say thank you for organizing this march, and that's what I did.
Right.
But
well, it was, it certainly blew up. They did not like some of, our comments, and, because we said it's time for us to be silent and to let everyone else speak. And that's what the march was about. We went out, we got a bullhorn. We didn't speak, it's not about us. We handed that bullhorn. And I don't know if you guys were at the march or...
I found out about it after the fact.
Yeah, I didn't know about this one.
Yeah, we went to one in Benel.
Is this the one that they marched over the bridge?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was the one.
Was Vigo at that march?
Yes.
That's my guy.
No, that's my daughter. That was my daughter's teacher, one of her favorite teachers. And she reached out to Mr. Vigo and said, listen, this is what we need to do. And like I said, when I tell you that this happened in a day or two, and we didn't know if anyone was going to show up. We knew it was going to be our family, some of the people that we put out, my daughter's friends, some of my friends. And when everyone showed up, it was like... It was magical. I mean, it was magical. And you turn behind you and you're looking at like 300 people walking over the bridge. And, my daughter's like, I just can't believe, we were able to do this. And the amount of emotion and love and compassion and understanding that was at this march. And the words that were spoken. I mean, people are just crying. I mean, I've been to many marches. I've marched for Monsanto. I've against Monsanto. I have marched for climate change, LGBTQ, you name it. I've been there. DC, everywhere, and I have never been so moved in my life. And to think that this wonderful light that thing that we were trying to do to give the voice turned out to be so bad, or to be received so badly. It did surprise me. I mean, I don't know why I continue to be surprised, but I do, because I just continue, and that's when it started. And I mean, it just came at us at 100 miles an hour, and it was from, I mean, I was pissed.
So we see a lot of it we've seen some of it on social media. Did you get phone calls? Did people come to the shop?
Phone calls, emails, bad reviews, just bogus bad reviews. Stuff. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. I mean, I was called a terrorist, a communist, a Marxist. I mean, a socialist. There are names that I won't say. I mean, what we were called and how people came after us was ridiculous. The phone was ringing. I got an email from Zimbabwe. Literally, an email from Zimbabwe. People from other states that don't even go to Sally's.
Were the Zimbabwe people asking you to send them money?
Yeah, no, they were telling me that, I have no idea what I'm doing and that they'll never come to my shop, okay? It was horrible. It really was. And the harassment and the threats. I mean, I had to put an alarm system and cameras all over the place.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was, it took a toll. And it has taken a toll on my employees as well. You know, I mean, here you have like 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old, you know, I don't call them kids, but
Right.
they're all my kids.
Young
They are
people.
all my kids, having to deal with this and constantly coming at you and reading the comments. And I just stopped reading comments. See, and I would not. The thing is that I'm not going to respond to this. I'm not going to react to this. You keep doing what you're doing. And it was really hard not to. But why am I going to... I'm not going to change your mind. My words and coming back at you are not going to change your mind. You already know what we stand for. You already know who we are. We have never made any false claims about it. So come at me. And we lost a lot of customers. We lost,
Did you? I would imagine you gained some too.
and we did. So, you know, all those people that we lost, I've been thankful and blessed that I've met some pretty amazing people that have now become my friends. And I didn't need to say anything because people, strangers that I had no clue existed, came to our defense and stood up for us. And they said they knew our heart. And that's pretty cool. That was, again, extremely humbling that they stood by us. And, you know, just the comments, like, you know, let's take it to this. Oh, a business should, you know, small business, you should stick to scooping ice cream and not be involved in politics. You hypocritical. Like, seriously?
But
Like-
you're not endorsing anyone for president.
No, not endorsing. There was nothing politics.
So it's not
Right.
political.
It's not political.
It's an
It's all
issue.
about racism.
Right. It's right or wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe that police officers who kill unarmed people should be held accountable or
No.
not? Do you believe that someone who is gay or lesbian or transgender or transsexual, bisexual should have the same rights as everyone else or not? This has nothing to do with if we're going to vote on this bill on the floor or who
Exactly.
do you think, or we're going to go to war with Pakistan. This is about America and our social issues.
Yes.
If you can't see that, then as you said, you know, we can only reach the people who are willing to be educated and willing to listen.
Yes.
The people who are not, who just dismiss you out of hand, yes, you should not waste your breath on those people.
No.
And you're right to do that.
Yeah, I just, it was a tough decision not to, because when people are coming at you, you want to be heard. You want to be like, you know, you are so wrong. Like, you know, and try and make them understand. And I did respond to one or two that I just felt that were just so ridiculous.
So did I.
Yeah. and because I'm like, I can't be quiet, you know, and, you know, there was someone who posed as Sally's employees, you know, as one of Sally's employees.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Mr. John Hill.
Yeah, that guy is.
yeah.
He's a treasure.
Yeah, he's something special. He's something special, and he's attached to a lot of people around here, actually, in the political realm and some of the other businesses. And, you know, he's posting the most racist, horrific things that you have ever seen, and they're all coming back to me saying, this is your employee, and how can you employ someone like this? And it's like, you know, the same response over and over again, you know, and there are people that do know us, but there are some people who don't know us. So that is extremely detrimental to my business. So I've had, you know, at one point I'm like, I have to make a post. I'm going to have to, you know, try and get this out there. So I did respond, you know, to that. And I'm going to say things are, you know, since the election, things have calmed down a little bit, but I'm telling you, leading up to it, I mean, we every day.
I mean, you had to watch those Trump trucks drive down A1A every day.
Honking at us, flipping us off, you know, wishing us, you know, I hope you
A wonderful day, right? A
Yeah,
wonderful day.
exactly. I hope you go bankrupt. I hope you lose everything. I hope.
But those are very fine people.
They
That's
are
what
very
I,
special
that-
people.
That's what I was told.
Yeah. I mean, there are times when I literally sat in my car and I wouldn't get out of the car because it was just this back and forth, especially when they had a rally. It would be, you know, stop in front of Sally's, or they'd go and they turn around and come back again. That's a lot on my employees as well.
I wish I would have known about that, because I would have been there eating ice cream, talking to them.
Just, you know, after, you're thick-skinned, but then sometimes I just sit there with my head down, and I'm
we're all human.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
it is. You know, they position themselves right across the street at Sally's with the flags. Like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't about politics. Like, you're just doing this to justify your narrative for hate.
Right.
So
Johnny and I have had some conversations recently about how certain types of people can't handle, I can't see your face.
Yeah.
There we go. How certain people can't handle honest, real conversation.
Yes.
Communication is in one direction, and but if it comes back, they fall apart. They can't hear it. They can't handle it.
No one wants to hear that, you're wrong. I mean, it doesn't feel good as humans. We don't want to hear that. But guess what? We're all wrong sometimes.
I mean, we can't grow up in this country and not have experienced racism in some way.
Yes.
Or, I mean, as a white woman, I know I can see now where I am today, where there are times throughout my life where I think I'm not racist, but we're taught things in a racist way.
Right.
And
it's there. And
you have to be willing
to acknowledge it.
and to not make everything about you for crying out loud.
Exactly.
It's
so
not all
have
about
that
you.
honest conversation and listen. And that's what this march was about for us, was for people to listen.
Yeah.
And
The problem with that is, and here's the thing, so when you grow up and you've been taught a certain thing, like these people running around with their Confederate flags on their trucks and all that kind of stuff, to sit down and, while I don't like it, I always try to put myself in their shoes, right? So if you're talking to a person like that and you're saying, hey, some of these things you believe in is wrong, in their mind, they're saying, so you telling me that my mother and father taught me the wrong things? Yes. It's hard to come to grips with the way you've been raised your whole life.
Yes.
Is wrong. And so they don't want to have those conversations, because if what I'm practicing now is racist, and my parents taught me that, it makes my parents racist.
Right.
And that's a hard thing for some people.
It is. It's hard to take an honest look. Who likes, who likes to always look honestly in the mirror all the time?
Right.
It's not an easy thing. No one ever said it's easy. Okay? It's not just like, oh yes, this is it. It's very complicated. It's complex. It's multifaceted. There's so many different things that affect it. I mean, I can see even how I grew up and where I grew up. And some of my friends that I grew up with, I've known since I was born, I'm still friends with. And I can see how they have even changed a little bit, because I grew up in an extremely diverse area. Okay? We were all friends. We lived on the same blocks, or one block over, and, we had black, white, Portuguese, the Hungarian, we had the Puerto Rican, Jamaican, and we all lived all within blocks, and that is what I grew up with. So, I hate when people say, and they use it as a cop-out, well, I didn't see race. Well, we did, but we didn't, because, I dated whoever I wanted to date, and there was never an issue. So then I did, everyone evolves at a different rate, and due to their experiences and such. I saw it a lot earlier, and I'd have conversations, and they're like, it's not that bad. But it is. It is. See, we didn't think it was that bad because this is where we lived, in this little bubble where it was okay. But it is that bad. It's worse than that bad. And now I see them coming like, wow, yes. Like, we didn't even see how bad it was because we grew up in this bubble. But now that once you know, you're not allowed to unknow. That's it. Like, if you don't know, you can't blame somebody for not knowing. But once you know, then I'm done. Like, that's it.
Yeah, once you've seen it and you refuse to acknowledge it, then you become part of the problem.
Exactly. And that is why, back to Sally's, remaining silent was not an option. I would not ever be silent. I will not be complicit. I will not be told to shut up. And I will not let that be an example to my children. I will be the total opposite of that.
It takes so much of that. And, when Johnny said, it takes you and the way you are raising your daughters, or the way we're raising our family too. Another conversation I was having was just about how so many things are just handed down generationally. Generational trauma, generational trauma is a big one. I think that leads us to perpetuate different things, different behaviors, different, and at some point you can't just say, well, that's how I was raised. You have to say, well, that's how I was raised, so I have to change it.
Yes,
and
break that cycle.
And you break the cycle and do things. I made a conscious decision to do some things differently as we raise our family.
Yes.
And that's what it takes.
One
thing that it takes.
Yeah, it takes breaking that cycle. And again, like you said, nobody wants to hear that they were wrong. I mean, I don't know. Are we that fragile, or are we that egotistical? I don't know.
No, I just think some people don't have that self-reflection.
Yeah.
Like, on the podcast I talk a lot about one of my buddies who was an avid Trump supporter. And, towards the election, about maybe 2-3 months before, well, maybe more, we had a conversation. It was after one of the presidential debates, when Trump said, stand by, stand back, that whole thing. And I told my friend, I said, hey, listen, I can't tell you who to vote for. I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you a vote for someone like that hurts me as a person.
Yes.
And I think it was the first time he even thought about that. And I don't know if he thought about it after. I have not had that conversation with him. But I think it was when you have to say, am what I'm doing hurting anyone?
Yeah.
Is it hurting people? And you don't realize the things that you do could be hurting the very people you say you love.
Yes, it has a direct impact. I mean, if not, just even emotionally, it has a direct impact. And, we have to be really careful. We have to think. We need to critical think. We need to use our discernment. We need to just look beyond ourselves and look at everyone around us, because this affects all of us.
But,
I mean, there's a lot of injustice in the whole entire world, in America, and it directly affects every single person that there is.
Johnny says all the time that Americans don't have empathy.
Yeah, empathy is lacking.
Yeah.
Yes, it is lacking. If it doesn't directly affect me, well, then I'm either not going to deal with it, or I'm not going to talk about it, or it's not that bad.
Right.
Or mine is more important. This is more important what happened to me. I mean, I think, oh, well, I'm white and I've experienced racism. No, you haven't. You've experienced prejudice. Okay? There's a big difference. There's a huge difference.
Miss Karen, I say this all the time. Listen, for everybody listening, if you are a black person, for the most part, you are not in a position of power. Right. You can't be racist because you can't control anything. You can be prejudiced.
Right.
Racism implies power, everyone. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, for the last 400 some odd years in this country, white people have had the power. If you don't know that, just pick up a history book.
Yeah, exactly. Pick up a real history book, not the crap that's thrown at us. Okay, like the real history book. Again, I call it the fairy tale USA, because it is based on a lot of. Again, let's take it and put some lipstick on it and put a dress on it and make it look all pretty. Just doesn't mean what's underneath is nice.
Yeah. So, based on true events, but some have been fictionalized for your entertainment.
Exactly, in order to fit the narrative of what you want, But it's a hard time. This is a hard time. It's a very pivotal time, and it's going to continue to be, and we need people like you and us and around us to use our voices and to not accept it. To be able to say stuff like, guess what? White privilege. It does exist. Like, and if you want to deny existence, we're never going to move forward.
See, I always ask questions. That's how I get people to realize what's going on. Like when someone says they don't have white privilege, I ask them, so at what job interview did you ever worry that you weren't going to get it because you were white?
Right. Mm-hmm.
if you haven't had to worry about that, you're living in a privilege. I have. Right. Every job. I would come back and say, oh, I didn't see many black people there, so I don't know. Right. Yeah. You just don't know. And it's not saying that they're racist or anything. It's just because I'm black, I've had to worry about that.
Yeah. And until we accept that, we can't change that. Because in denial, there's no moving forward. And you have to be okay with it to say, we're not okay. It's okay to say we're not okay, and there's a lot of things that are wrong. That things need to be fixed, and we need to be better, and we need to try every single day to be better humans. I try every day. I am not perfect, but I do know that I got my eye on trying to be better, and trying to do better and give back better and make better decisions. And as a whole, that's what this country needs to do. And stop with the divisiveness and, letting, the government and the politics take over, because they don't care about us. I don't care what party you are. They don't care. They're not living us. So take the politics out of it. And how do you want to live with your fellow man as a human? What would you want them to do for you? Do it for them before they do it for you. You have to, it's frustrating. In my brain, I get really frustrated because it does not seem that complicated. Loving my fellow man and having equal rights, and it's not that complicated. It's just love. It's just simple love and wanting the person that's standing next to you to be okay. I think that's where I get tripped up, because it's so obvious. It's so simple. Like, just love, doesn't mean less rights for you.
It's not pie.
No, it's definitely not pie. It's definitely not pie. Like, why can't we all just
get along?
Just get along. I mean, is that complicated? I don't think it is. And, I don't see it ending anytime soon. I have hope. And like you said, I have hope in our children and your children and my neighbor's children that they're going to move it on. But they need us too. We can't just sit back and say, well, they're going to change it. We have to change it with them.
I think it's going to happen. I coach youth basketball, and we do it every Saturday. And yesterday we had a bunch of games. And then after one set of games yesterday, my son was outside, which was a shock. Outside, playing with his friends, and they were running around in Bunnell, Florida. Okay, in the heart of Bunnell. Okay, and it was my son, a little black boy, another little black boy, Mexican, 2 white girls, running around, free, having fun. None of that crap mattered. No. In Bunnell, they weren't scared to be in Bunnell. They were running around, having fun and free. And they're doing that because all of those kids are being raised a certain way. And if people like us continue to do what we do and tell them and inform them and educate them, hopefully we can break the cycle. Now, I know that's been said for a long, long time, but I really think this generation is different.
I think it's been forced to be different. Everyone, like you said, it's always been there. We always thought that the next generation's going to help, and now, we have to be loud. We have to be really, really loud, and that's not my thing. I like to do things behind the scenes, quietly, softly. I like to do the changes that nobody knows about, okay? And that's how I like to be. But that's not an option. Right now we have a moral obligation to raise our voices and raise them together. And it can happen. I do think it can happen, but it's going to take a lot of hard work. And it's going to take a lot of
tough conversations, yes. And we can't do it in anger. And I think that's the balance. It's a very hard balance.
That is a big point.
It's a huge point.
We cannot become that, because then we are no better than that. And I tell that to my kids, especially when they were going through all the stuff at Sally's, and how would it upset them. and again, kids, my employees as well, we cannot let their hatred take us over, because then they will win. So we have to just keep putting out the light. We cannot internalize it. We can't just keep getting angry. It's going to make you sick. It's going to make you tired, and it's going to make you unproductive.
Yeah, not only that, if you speak in anger, your message often gets lost.
Yes, it does.
You know, because all they're focusing on is you shouting and not the words you're saying.
Yes.
So that is a very, very valid point, because as I, peruse social media, it's always anger driven.
Right.
Never fact driven, never, it's, you libtard and you.
Yeah.
Like it's all
Like,
like,
what is that?
it's all like, it's all that
Like,
crazy, that crazy nonsense, where rather than just talking about issues that we face.
Yes.
If you're yelling all that stuff, like I immediately turn you off.
Right.
So I'm assuming that if I'm yelling at you, you're gonna turn me off too.
Right.
So that is a huge point.
And it's hard because you want to be heard, but it's having those conversations, and like intelligent conversations about issues, about policies and how it affects. I mean, who doesn't want to? And we're all not going to agree. I mean, we're all not going to agree on everything. That's just life. But if we can come to an understanding, and then there's cause and there's effect.
And there are certain things we all should be able to agree on, quite honestly. And the fact that we don't is mind-boggling.
Yes. That's where it becomes like, why is it so complicated?
Right.
Again, why is it so complicated? But I think that if we just keep moving forward, and in little ways we do things in order to make it better, like by example and not just words, it's possible. And even if it's we gotta, right now, I mean, I don't think I could change the world, but I try and change the house. You gotta fix your house. And right now, Flagler County is our house. This is it. And it needs to be fixed. And because we do have some political figures that are just extremely extreme, yes, that I don't even, the ridiculousness of their words just don't even compute in my head. It doesn't, I don't even want to give it validity by saying any of it, because it doesn't deserve it. But if we can do little things and come together as a community, even if it's a few people at a time, those few people get bigger and bigger and bigger. And for all different types of social justice, not just Black Lives Matter, but everything as a whole. I'm very active with the LGBTQ community as well. Sally's is a safe place for them. We're having Love Wins, the second Sunday of every month, where people can come from all over. They come from St. Augustine just to get together, to congregate somewhere, and just be. So awesome. Doing little things like that, I hope, I hope it makes a difference. And I hope people see that, like, we're not against anyone. We're just for, like, everyone.
That's it. You just titled the episode. You did.
I mean, it's, I don't know. I don't honestly know what's going to happen. It's, we're going to keep on getting the haters, and I'm going to keep on ignoring them, and we're just going to keep trying to make the difference. And I mean, I don't want to stop. Like, I don't know, like, part of me doesn't know where to go from here. And like I said, we've always been conscious. I try to do everything ethically with my business, on the very basic level of it, as far as where I source my products from, what we do, with our environment. I do a lot of research. I don't shop at certain places. And, but where do we go from here? Is just being that light that I hope we are enough?
I believe it is. So just from my perspective, right, before I let you get out of here whenever we end, as a black man who's been taking, I call her my daughter. She says I can do that if I recognize her fluidity, so I'm going to do that. Who's been taking my daughter there before she even came out, and taking my black son there before he even realized what this social stuff was all about. We had a special episode a while ago, and I said, over the last year as a black man, I see people value my friendship, but they don't value me. You value me, and you don't even know me, because of how you run your business. You value my son. You value my daughter. Just by the stickers in the window, just by the little things you've been doing, that is valuing us. So you continue to do those things, And I continue to take my daughter and my son to the shop, and they see those stickers, and they go on with their world, and they say, hey, I can do these same things. I can speak up for issues. And those little things are like what Sue used to say, they're little seeds that grow.
Yeah, I guess we're planting seeds. Thank you for that.
Now, but just think about it for a second. I didn't even know my daughter was gay. Who knows if she ever saw one of those stickers up there and said, hey, you know, it's all right that I'm this way. Mm-hmm. Right? So you doing that shows me that it values me. Okay. Not just my dollar or my $5 or $6 for that fudge brownie sundae. That I love.
Oh, I thank you for that. And that's you know, that shows that what we want to achieve is actually working, I guess.
Sally's Ice Cream Shop has been serving scoops of yummy deliciousness down at Flagler Beach since 1985. Family owned and operated, Karen and her daughters have created a bright and happy beachfront shop where they serve each cone, dish, and sundae with love. Try Johnny's favorite brownie sundae, Sue's favorite toasted coconut cone, or let the Sally's family help you choose your own original creation. Sally's Ice Cream Shop, located at 401 North Ocean Shore in Flagler Beach. So I have a very serious question to wrap things up.
Oh, okay.
You make some of your own ice cream.
We do.
Would you ever consider a flavor of banana pudding that uses Nutter Butters instead of no
Nutter
Butters?
Please say no.
You like the Nutter Butter?
No,
Is there a Nutter Butter problem here? Let's see. Yes.
Apparently, Sue made banana pudding one time, and instead of
hold on. If you're gonna I took it to a barbecue in a little town that we lived in North Carolina, where people take their banana pudding very seriously.
Okay.
And she decided that instead of putting Nilla wafers in her banana pudding, as most people do, that she put Nutter Butters in it.
It was delicious.
And how was it received?
Not well.
Not well.
I ate the whole thing myself.
To which I said, that was false advertising. It wasn't really banana pudding to begin with.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. We just did a banana one. We did.
Yes,
I did the banana with Nutella. Mm-hmm. And my daughter
Whenever
Madison,
I see the banana stuff, I come down.
Yes, she did the banana with Nutella, and she's like, "Should I put Nutella wafers in?" I'm like, "No, don't do the wafers on this one. Let's not do it." But people have been liking that, so you never know. I mean, we're open for all flavors.
Do not even jot that down.
You sure?
No, it's good. I'm gonna make one.
You never know. You never know what can go together.
That's right.
You know, it's a little crazy.
I don't believe you've ever tried my Nutter Butter banana pudding, Johnny, so I can't imagine why you have an opinion on it.
Watch next week and you'll see at Sally's Nutter Butter banana pudding ice cream.
And I will go to the window and say, fudge brownie sundae.
Do not put the Nutter Butter. And then we'll have a picture of you up there saying, if he asks for this, give him this. Because that's all we can do.
Well, it was just an absolute pleasure to have you here with us today.
Much.
We really appreciate it. It's a conversation I was really looking forward to having. So
you guys are awesome. It's so nice to be here.
Go on.
I think you're my friends now.
Yes, we are.
Definitely.
It's just so nice to like-minded is to be around that.
It's nice to feel safe when you're sitting down and have a conversation with somebody. For
sure. It definitely.
Thank you, because you were one of the first people we were like, we have to get them on.
Right? I reached out the first time before my dad died.
Yeah,
right? And then everything went sideways for a while, and
all three of us, right? Lost our dads.
Mm-hmm. What a club.
Yeah, really. And like all very close together.
Yeah.
That's sad. But the other thing I did want to put up or say is that I have for the past, and I can't remember how many years it's been, probably about 7 or 8 years, I have done a scholarship for for girls, I started a scholarship. It's called Flagler County Girl Rising. It is based on educate a girl and change the world. Okay, I bought a movie here years ago. It was called Girl Rising, and I decided to start it locally. So I did, and over the past, I don't know how many years, I've given a lot of money. I'm not going to say how much, but to the local scholarship. And this year I decided to stop it. Just because I felt that the money was needed somewhere else. So I've been giving, and I wasn't putting it out there, but I have been, and maybe this is a good way for someone to get in contact with me. I've been giving money to some of these younger kids that are big in in social justice, and trying to help them any way we can to support them. Because sometimes you do need money for things. And so if there's people out there or younger kids that are looking to do something.
And how do they find out about it, or how do they contact you?
Privately.
Okay. I'll make sure we get that information.
Yeah, you can put my email address on there.
Okay, we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, because if we can do anything, I just thought it would be better now. I thought it was time for a change. And I would like to directly help some of the these younger kids that are our future move forward.
That's great.
And do some things.
That's super.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, again, I want to thank you for coming out. I wanted to take one quick second because I forget from time to time. We ask our listeners if they would rate us or give us a 5-star review. If you don't love the show, shoot us an email. But if you like the show, if you wanted to leave us a 5-star review, I have a few shout outs. We've gotten a few awesome 5-star reviews. So a big thank you to Common Ground, who is actually the one that gave us the comment that was our theme for season 1, a middle-aged white woman and an urban black man. It's fantastic because that's what we are. But you know how sometimes you hear something about yourself and you don't think, like I said, and I thought, oh my God, I'm middle-aged. I'm a middle-aged white woman.
Am I?
We're almost the same age.
So thank you, Common Ground, Trish-ish, and Molly Margaret. We appreciate your kind words on iTunes. And anyone out there, if you could hit 5 stars and give us a review, it'll help us get seen. And hopefully you're doing it not just because you love us, but because you're also enjoying the show. You can find us on Instagram at The Strongly Worded Pod. Please join our Facebook group, The Strongly Worded Podcast Group. Coming soon is going to be the Strongly Worded Podcast Network. More about that to follow. And on Twitter, we're the Strongly Worded P because they didn't have enough letters.
Seriously.
And we laugh every single time.
It works. Well, thank you guys for everything that you're doing, and thank you for giving us, giving Sally's a voice, and for bringing all this very important stuff to the forefront. And thank you. You're very kind and
Thank you.
You're very kind and sweet, and I appreciate it very much.
Wow.
And you guys are doing great.
Thank you.
Anything I can ever do, I'm here for you. So
Thank you.
Nutter butters. That's all I'm saying.
all right, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it, and we're gonna see. You might be the only one having it, but
Don't do it.
Oh, that's great. All right, I'm stopping.
That was awesome.
This Strongly Worded podcast is written and produced by Johnny Hampton and Sue O'Lear. Music production and vocals by Marshall Max LaMont Hamilton